Hello, everyone inside Iran and outside of Iran. My name is Aryan Khaliqi, and this is the second lecture from our 2022 lecture series called Contemporary Architecture Between Terrestriality and Transcendence at Contemporary Architects Association in Iran. Today, we are hosting one of the most exciting architects I know, Moon Hoon from Seoul in South Korea. He has lived in South Korea and I think Tasmania and Australia. He's studied at Inha University in South Korea and also a graduate of MIT in the United States. He crosses boundaries of different genres through various methods of expression, such as drawings or doodlings, installations and performances to creatively experiment with the expansions of architectural horizons. He founded Mونبالسو in 2001, and he has been an active architect since then and has received numerous awards, including the Korean Institute of Architects Award in 2005. In 2009, he was selected as one of the 12 major architects of Korea by professors of architecture. And in 2014, he was invited to the Venice Biennale, where he exhibited his drawings. He was a designer of this beautiful pavilion representing South Korea in the 2020 Dubai Expo, and I assume many of you have seen the work or you may have visited the work. So let me translate this in Farsi. خب با عرض سلام مجدد خدمت به همه، ما لکچر دوممون رو داریم از مجموعه سلسله سخنرانی 2022 در کانون معماری معاصر. معماری معاصر از ماده تا انتزاع و سخنران دوممون مون هون هست از کره جنوبی. ایشون معمار بسیار فعالیه، در کره و استرالیا زندگی کرده، از دانشگاه MIT فارغ التحصیل شده و از متدهای مختلفی برای معماری از مدیوم‌های مختلفی استفاده میکنه، از جمله این نقاشی‌ها و طراحی‌های دستی خودش و جوایز بسیار زیادی رو گرفته، از جمله جایزه انجمن معماران کره به عنوان یکی از 12 معمار اصلی کره جنوبی انتخاب شده در یک سالی. همینطور در سال 2014 تو 2 سالانه ونیز نقاشی‌هاش رو نمایش گذاشته و همینطور پاویلیون نماینده کره جنوبی بوده در سال 2022 و 2021 در شهر دبی در نمایشگاه جهانی دبی. So going back to the theme of our lecture series, where we spoke about the notions of formal matter versus material form, one can detect the same dialectic in Moon Hoon's work, where architecture is sometimes imposing a transcendent free form to the materials, as you see in the project on the left-hand side called the Wind House, and sometimes follows the forces of materiality, like the project called Simple House on the right-hand side. ما در مورد دوتا مسئله، دوتا در واقع کانسپت فرم ماتر و متریال فرم تو این لکچر سریامون صحبت کردیم و ما این تنش رو، این دیالکتیک رو تو کار ایشون هم میبینیم، جایی که در سمت چپ پروژه‌ای که فرم سمبولیکی که داره اولویت داره بر ساخت و مصالح و در سمت راست این رابطه برعکس هستش. Taking it to our form and materiality diagram, then the simple house could be placed on the top left corner where there is terrestrial or a brutal expression of transcendent forms, whereas in the bottom left corner, the Pyeongchang Gallery represents an earthbound naturalist expression following the slope of the hill in the background. To the bottom right corner where the lollipop house is expressing a playful and symbolic form, and finally on the top right corner, the project called Dogot Maximum is a more abstract project, both in terms of form and material expression. و حالا ما این رو اگر ببریم در دیاگرام فرم و مصالح خودمون می‌بینیم که در سمت چپ بالا ما فرم انتزاعی تری رو داریم که مصالح زمینی تری ساخته شده. سمت چپ پایین جایی رو داریم که فرم داره یک جوری از طبیعت تبعیت میکنه با همون مصالح زمینی. سمت راست پایین جایی رو داریم که هم فرم و هم مصالح خیلی سمبولیک و خیلی مصنوعی هستن و سمت راست بالا جایی هست که پروژه هم در فرم و هم در بیانگری مصالح مندیش بسیار انتزاعی شده و ابسترکت شده و ما همینا رو تو این کارا می‌بینیم. This is my selection of Moon's works that I put in a larger diagram. In one of his interviews, Moon describes himself as an anarchist whose position within architectural discourse is blurry or in between. Perhaps this diagram confirms that. However, in general, his work, in my opinion, is leaning towards a surrealist or speculative realist approach with symbolic forms and an expression of artificial materiality. و توی این دیاگرام بزرگتر می‌بینیم که کاراش چجوری جای میگیرن. دیاگرامی که من قبلا توی لکچرهای قبلی معرفی کردم. خودش تو یکی از مصاحبه‌هاش میگه که من یک در واقع معمار آنارشیست هستم که خودم رو در قید و بند دیسکورس‌های مشخص معماری نمیذارم و یک پوزیشن، یک موقعیت در میانی دارم و محو هست پوزیشنم. ولی به صورت کلی وقتی کاراش رو مشاهده کنیم می‌بینیم که یک گرایش کلی هست نسبت به یک جور گرایش سورئالیست در فرم و یک جور بیانگرایی خیلی مصنوعی و خیلی فانتزی در مصالح و متریالیتی. من همینجا متوقف میشم و از مونهم دعوت میکنم که شروع کنه سخنرانیش رو. Okay, stop here and let him start. Thank you very much. We are very honored. Please join me to welcome Moonhem.
Okay, thank you for your very, very thorough introduction and very, how can I say, it's the first time that somebody has put a lot of effort in categorizing me, putting me in a bird cage. Thank you. Thank you for putting me in a bird cage. It's a first experience, but it's very nice to hear that at least you look through and try to categorize me. And I often tell people that I'm like a slimy eel. I always run away from definition. I try to always run away, but at least thank you for your effort. Thank you very much.
Let me translate that. خیلی تشکر میکنم. میگن که این اولین باری هست که کسی سعی کرده کار منو تو دسته‌بندی بذاره و سعی کنه اینا رو تعریف کنه برام و برای منم جالب بود این دسته. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'll share my screen. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. Is it good evening, good afternoon, good morning everywhere? This is the world, right? We are talking to the world, right?
Yes, I think you're talking to the world. It is afternoon Tehran and Europe, morning in the US, and evening.
Oh, okay. So let's call it.
Okay.
Good day, everyone. Yes. All right. Good to see you. It's a pity that we have to meet in virtual space. It's much actually better to be in person because I can hear you. I can hear your smile. I can hear your laughter or your sighs. But anyway, we have to go with what we have, right?
Okay. خیلی سلام میکنه به همه و میگه که وقتتون بخیر باشه هر جا که هستید و میگه که اینم موقعیت جالبیه که الان ما باید به صورت مجازی لکچر بدیم و من نمیتونم خنده ها و لبخنده شما رو ببینم ولی به هر حال این شرایطی که داریم و باید باش پیش بریم. I try to represent the laughs myself. So, yeah.
Okay, the title is Doodle Constructivism. I'm borrowing from the Russian constructivism. And doodle is, I've been doodling since I was 4.
عنوان این صحبت هستش کانستراکتیویسم دودل یا نقاشی با قلم و میگه که کانستراکتیویسم رو از کانستراکتیویسم روسی من دارم میگیرم در هنر و دودل همون نقاشیه که ما از بچگی من خودم از 4 سالگی انجام میدم.
Okay. This is my thesis at MIT. And I had a very difficult time because my professors thought I was trying to be like too much an artist. Because the concept goes, the thing in the middle with a bridge is a nightclub. So in Korea, the red bridge is actually Dongho Bridge. It exists. There is a lot of traffic, so that's a nightclub. You look down, you will see cars clogged up, and it will be a great scenery from the nightclub, okay? Now the bridge is a suicide bridge. So you jump and you die, of course. And underneath the bridge, there's a crematorium. When you're dead, it burns you and it's utilized an energy. So then the energy goes into the love hotel. That's the vertical part of it. So it's a cyclical life and death situation. So I was trying to explain to my professor that, you know, the world of disparity and life and death is one thing in a cycle. So I was talking to these, and there was many other issues. I could go on forever, but that's the theme.
Thanks. این پروژه پایان نامه‌شون هست در دانشگاه MIT و میگه که استادام اون موقع باور داشتن که من خیلی زیادی میخوام آرتیست باشم با این پروژه‌ای که انجام میدم و این یک پل برخلاف پل‌های عادی که وجود داره، یک پله که به یک نایت کلاب وصله و جلوش یک محلی برای خودکشی هست و کسی که از اون بالا خودکشی میکنه در اون پایین یک محلی هست برای اینکه این جسدش در واقع سوزانده بشه و خاکسترش دوباره میره تزریق میشه به اون برج که برج عشق اسمش گذاشته و خواسته که چرخه زندگی و مرگ رو تو این پروژه ترسیم کنه و بیان کنه.
So this is a worldview I have when I was 20, and my worldview hasn't changed very much. So I'm still drawing the same thing, but it has evolved a bit. So there are 3 ways to die, not just one way to jump, 3 ways, but the idea is similar. So this is becoming kind of an idea I have in my head, but still there. So I'm thinking of a utopia in the sense that this is existing with a reality, and I change reality by painting it red. So the bridge which is not red, I paint and it becomes something different. It becomes maybe something different. And then on top and on bottom, above level and below level, I intervene to create a world. And so this is my very personal view of architecture and world. So this is a sort of maybe a genesis of my architecture when I was in still lingering with me.
Okay. میگه که این پروژه‌ای هست که جدیدتره و اون پروژه قبلی که دیدین دیدگاه من در 20 سالگی بود، ولی شاید براتون جالب باشه که دیدگاه من خیلی در این چند ساله عوض نشده و اینجا حالا به جای یه دونه 3 تا پل خودکشی دارم. ولی میگه که من کاری که دارم سعی میکنم تو این ترسیماتم بکنم اینی که در مقابل واقعیت مقاومت نشون بدم و مثلا این کار رو به این صورت کردم که این پلی که هست به صورت عادی، پلی که موجوده رو من قرمز کشیدم و متحول شده، تبدیل به چیز دیگری شده، با اون واقعیت موجودش فرق داره و بعد در پایین و بالای این پل مداخله کردم و عناصر جدیدی رو از دنیای تخیل خودم وارد کردم.
Okay, I was thinking about the shellfish because I love shellfish. I enjoy eating, so I get inspired by many things nearby. And the shellfish one was one of the inspirator for my architecture. Okay, the shellfish is very hard, so you can hide under it. You know, I can hide, but inside is really soft. And I was imagining a very soft space that could be really flexible, you know, like the real shellfish. So these are sketches based on possibilities of like a biomimicry architecture, which is a little bit different from what we see. You know, everything is hard, but this architecture would be very soft everywhere. You know, you can lean on it, and then it could hug you and things like that. So these are drawings based on that.
میگه که من خیلی علاقه دارم به صدف، به این صدف‌های خوراکی و این فرمی که دارن که بیرونش یک پوسته سخت داره و داخلش یک چیز خیلی نرمه و سعی کردم تو این پروژه یک جور بایومیمیکری انجام بدم، یک جور تقلید طبیعت این پروژه معماری انجام میده. به این صورت یک فضای نرمی رو بین 2 تا پوسته سخت قرار دادم و تو این فضای نرم شما دیگه به یک صفحه سخت برخورد نمی‌کنید. فضا کاملا منعطفه و کشداره واسه کسی که اون تو هست.
Okay, I did many shellfish drawings, but this is the last one in the series because as you can see, it's not afraid anymore. It's pushing out the shell. It's now have a background now. It's in the city, sticking with the good bonds. You know, you need a good bond to stick to the building. And then this is showing the how do you say blurriness of the openings and closing and all these. So this is the last drawing of the shellfish drawing.
این میگه آخرین ترسیم از این مجموعه ترسیمات صدف من هست که اینجا دیگه این صدف تو بک‌گراند نیست، بلکه اومده جلو و داره نقش بازی میکنه، با 2 تا صفحه سخت داره ساختمانه موجود رو هول میده و یه جایی برای خودش باز کرده.
Okay, I'm also interested in the undercurrent of Korea, which is shamanism, I think. Shamanism is really prevalent, not as an orthodox religion, but something that is undercurrent. So I'm thinking about a shaman house, futuristic shaman house, where it uses technology instead of knives and bells, how the shamans use bells and stepping on knives, and it looks archaic, but so I was trying to envision a new type of shaman house where technology, maybe metaverse or virtual whatever, that could be incorporated, so you could go and see your dead, you can meet your father who's been passed away or something like that. Yeah, so that's a drawing about that.
و اینم یه دراینگ در مورد یک جور فرقه شامانیسم، یک جور صوفیگری که در کره مرسومه و میگه که سعی کردم اون رسم رو دوباره اینجا ترسیم کنم، نشون بدم با این تفاوت که برخلاف اون واقعیت سنتی که اینا دارن که یک سری زنگوله دارن و یک سری مراسمی دارن، حالا من از تکنولوژی استفاده کنم، از واقعیت مجازی، از متاورس استفاده کنم برای اینکه یک نگاه آینده نگرانه‌ای به این فعالیت بدم.
Okay, and in early 2010, 12 until 2012 or 13, I did a doodle diary. So this is a Moleskine A5 size, and on the left there was my first experience of eating a Korean fish soup, where the small fish was all intact, but you had to eat it with the head first. So it was a very scary experience. So I put it in the notebook.
و میگه که این مجموعه این نقاشی منه که تا سال 2010 یا 12 ادامه دادم و اینا رو کشیدم و سمت چپ نقاشی رو میبینین که سوپ کره‌ای توش داره که از این ماهیای کوچیک هست توش، ماهیایی که شما از دمش باید بگیرین و یک جا قورت بدین این ماهی رو و چون یه چیز ترسناکی برام بود من اینو توی در واقع این نقاشی گذاشتم توی این کتاب.
So what's it got to do with the architecture? Because I'm trying to relate everything around me into architecture. So after eating this, I'm thinking about slimy architecture.
میگه ربط این به معماری چیه؟ ربطش اینه که من سعی میکنم هر چیزی که در دور و برم در اطرافم هست رو به معماری ربط بدم و این یکی از اوناست و این باعث شد که من به یک جور معماری لزج یا لیز فکر کنم.
On the right is a section of a duck. So, we architects use scales, right? To larger scale, to small scale. So I was imagining if I look deeply into the section of a duck, I could imagine and learn from it of spatial qualities. And so imagination and the experience of food going together into a drawing. Yes.
میگه سمت راست ما یک مقطع از یک اردک رو میبینیم که توش زوم کردم و سعی کردم عناصر مختلفش رو مثل یک سری فضا تصور کنم. در واقع من به این غذاها به شکل فضاهای معماری سعی کردم نگاه کنم و تخیل کنم.
Okay, and this one is also about about hypertext, where space and different spaces could be related together without any corridors or any stairs. So maybe we could envision it's like a nerve cell. We could think about this maybe a spatial experience in metaverse, right?
و این یک سری مجموعه فضاهای مرتبط به هم، یک شبکه فضایی که هیچ راهرویی نداره، فضاها اتاق به اتاق به هم وصل میشن، یکم شبیه اتفاقی که انگار داره در متاورس در فضای مجازی میفته از یک فضا به فضای دیگه.
This drawing is inspired by SpongeBob.
و این نقاشی رو تحت تاثیر باب اسفنجی کشیدم.
And when I was young, I was reading Buddhist text, and I was interested in nirvana. I want to have nirvana. How am I gonna get it? Maybe it's very difficult to meditate. Maybe we need some kind of a capsule where you go inside and you can find nirvana in this virtual cell. So I was always thinking about this kind of a machine where you go in and go to nirvana. So I'm not saying metaverse, but what I'm saying, I'm thinking of some kind of futuristic, not a TV. You go in and then you reach nirvana. Oh, so that's what it is.
میگه که من جوانتر که بودم تحت تاثیر نوشته‌های بودایی بودم که به دنبال رسیدن به نirvana هست و سعی کردم تو این ترسیمات هم اون رو تصور کنم، یک جور ترسیمات آینده نگر یا فیوچریستیک که یک فضایی نه مثل دقیقاً باز متاورس ولی یک جای تخیلی که شما میریم و به این نirvana میرسیم رو ترسیم کرد.
And this is about relationship between me and the world, which means, you know, I think it's you become yourself and you do whatever is necessary yourself without thinking about others. And then because you're not consciously thinking about helping others, you are helping others. And I think that's a very healthy world. So that's what I envision about this. So I run like a hamster in one of these spaces, but somehow this energy goes into someplace else and that somebody is rewarded and vice versa. So I was thinking about a world where everyone is not conscious about being nice, but helping each other. I think which is much better than always saying, I'm going to be good to people, I want to be good to public and all these bullshit. So this is architecture without bullshit.
این تصویری که میبینید یک جور یوتوپیایی که من این رو تصور کردم، جایی که شما هر کسی مثل یک شخص منفرد داره کار خودش رو میکنه، خودش رو در رابطه با جامعه نمیبینه ولی در این حال داره بدونه که حتی بدونه به جامعه کمک میکنه. مثالش این حلقه هایی هست، این لوله هایی هست که توش میدوئن، مثل اون همسترها یا موشایی که شما میذارید توی یک چرخه‌ای که توی چرخی که بدوئن همینطوری و این چرخ‌ها مثل چرخ دنده به بقیه کمک میکنه و اونا رو به حرکت در میاره. من یک چنین دنیایی رو تصور کردم که هر فردی برای خودش داره فعالیت میکنه ولی بدونه که بدونه داره به بقیه هم کمک میکنه، ارتباط فرد با جامعه رو داره تصویر میکنه.
Korea was opened up by the West without our intention, so our tradition was cut. Okay, so this is a drawing, just imagining how my traditional architecture could cut directly to the future. So it's a sketch about using the image and the feelings of Korean traditional architecture and throwing it into the future. That's a drawing, imaginative drawing on a personal level about that. That's what it is. Yeah.
معماری کره، کلا کشور کره یک دفعه درهاش رو به غرب باز شد و این یک اتفاق مهمی بود و من سعی کردم تو این ترسیمات یک واکنشی به اون بدم با کشیدن معماری سنتی کره‌ای به شکل یک معماری فیوچریستیک آینده‌گرا، جایی که انگار من گذشته رو به سمت آینده سعی می‌کنم پرتاب کنم.
And recently I've been trying new architecture I like doodling and I like making typography. So I'm using Korean character and using it, writing it in a certain way to make it more graphic and symbolic. And after that, what I do, I rotated it. So yeah.
من علاقه دارم به هم گفتم بهتون نقاشی و هم به تایپوگرافی یا کار کردن با حروف کره‌ای، پس جایی که شما میتونید طرحهای گرافیکی یا طرحهای سمبولیک باهاش در بیارین و من از اینجا شروع کردم با این طراحی‌ها و اینو چرخوندم و تبدیل به اون فضاهایی کردم که در صفحه بعد می‌بینید.
So this is a section of the rotation. So this drawing is about the possibility of architecture with accidents embedded in it. So it's architecture about discovery, not of given functions.
این در واقع معماری که حاصل شده از این یک معماری که بر اساس تصادفه، بر اساس کشف فضاهای جدیده و فضاها بر اساس فانکشن یا عملکردشون طراحی نشده.
So I try to do it in 3D in the computer. So it's, you know, it's the rotation brings about sort of an architecture, and so this doesn't have a context yet. But when I made it, it had certain like shapes that could be very useful, could be used as a cinema, you know, these shapes. Oh, that's nice. So I could just, okay, then I'll maybe use this as a cinema then, or why not? So I found a place to put it in Seoul. There is a big cinema in Gangnam Street, which I hate that cinema. So I thought I'd put that in that place.
میگه که اول که من اینو طراحی کردم هیچ ایده‌ای نداشتم، نه فانکشن و پروگرامی داشتش، نه جا مکان مشخصی داشت، ولی بعد که به این حالت چرخشش و این فرمش فکر کردم دیدم این میتونه خیلی فرم خوبی برای یک ساختمان سینما باشه و یک سینمایی هست در مرکز شهر کره که من اصلا از اون خوشم نمیاد و فکر کردم که شاید اینو بتونیم جای اون قرار بدیم و اینو با اون جایگزین کنیم.
So you see the drawing, right? So it's in Gangnam area. I have a finished drawing behind me. Sorry, I couldn't update it today, but it's all colored now. But anyway, this is, so it's kind of finding the right place to put it. So I put this energy into the right place. I'm replacing it.
و این رو من حالا تو اون سایتی که بهتون گفتم در مرکز شهر جای اون سینمای تصور کردم و تو این ترسیمم اینو سعی کردم در جای درستش قرار بدم.
And another important thing I want to mention is how this building doesn't have any envelope, because personally I like being outside. You know, I want to be in an intermediate space. I don't want to be inside. I don't like it. So I envision my building as kind of half outside, shaded by some second skin. But if technology arrives sooner or later, a thin layer of air could be the facade, right? MIT people could do it, or Iranian people can do it, or we could do it. Or if that comes, there'll be revolution. We don't need any windows anymore. It's just always there. That's my future. When that happens, this will work.
و میگه که من خیلی دوست دارم ساختمانایی که بازن، اکستریرن، فضا بسته نیستش و این فقط در یک حالت آینده نگرانه‌ای دارم تصور میکنم، آینده‌ای رو که یک شما نیاز به فاساد واسه پوشوندن و محدود کردن هوا واسه تهویه و گرم و سرما نداشته باشید و یک لایه نازکی از هوا خودش بیاد پروتکت کنه سرما و گرما رو و شما ساختمان‌های باز بتونید بسازید بدون اینکه در و پنجره و شیشه بیان اونو ببندن.
I'll pass this one and I'll start with the project now.
و میریم حالا تا پروژه ها رو ببینیم.
Okay. 5 years ago, I'll talk a lot about clients. Maybe some architects don't. Why I talk about clients? Because they are my inspirations. So this guy came to me and said he has a small plot of land in Seoul and he wants a really tall house for himself. But I didn't make a contract yet, but I was excited. So I doodled like this. Almost walk, and I named it Almost Walking Tower. I enjoyed it. So I drew it. Anyway, I was excited. Now, about the client. The client is well off, as you can see, but he's also very, how do you say, he rides motorbikes, which is called widow car in Korea also. So he takes risks. And below there, you can see he's also an architect, not an architect, but he draws everything. He designs a house already. So I respect, some is good. Okay, that's good. So I take that all in, okay?
Okay. من خیلی در مورد کارفرماهام تو این سخنرانی صحبت میکنم برای اینکه من به کارفرماها به شکل یک منبع الهام نگاه میکنم برای پروژه ها. یک کارفرمایی داشتم که یک زمین خیلی کوچیکی داشت در کره و این زمین خیلی کوچیک بود ولی می‌خواست یک خونه خیلی بلندی توش بسازه و من اون ترسیم یک برج در حال راه رفتن رو براش کشیدم. از طرفی خیلی این کارفرما علاقه‌مند به موتورسیکلت‌های پرسرعت و همینطور ترسیمات پایین، اون چیزی که می‌بینید اسکچ خود کارفرما هست که برای در ذهن خودش یک برجی هم طراحی کرده بود که من بهش احترام می‌ذارم.
So as you can see, I based a lot of my design on his desires and plans.
و همونطور که میبینید من خیلی از خواسته های اون و خودم رو میام و در پلان میذارم در برنامه.
So according to that design, we came up with this. So the below is the parking. The 4 stories are the rental space, and on top the 4 stories are for himself. And on top, I put a mesh cloud where there could be used as generating rain and the thunderstorms. And from below, you could see it and say infinity tower, right? So that was the idea. So that's the idea about the first design.
تو این طرحی که می‌بینید تو این برج 4 طبقه پایین فضایی که برای اجاره دادنه، 4 طبقه بالاش برای خود کارفرمای و اون بالا من یک سری ابر گذاشتم، یک سری ابری که بتونن بارون تولید کنن و خواستم یه جوری اینفینیتی تاور درست کنم، یک جور برج بی‌نهایت که وقتی شما پایین وای میستید برج تو ابر محو بشه و شما بالاش رو دیگه نتونید ببینید.
But he didn't like it.
ولی اینو دوست نداشت، این طرح رو دوست نداشت.
He didn't like it. He said, go back to the first sketch you showed me.
و گفت برگرد به اون اسکچ اولی که بهم نشون دادی.
So we went back and tried to do as the sketch. But as you know, drawing, architecture and drawing, you need a lot of translation.
و برگشتیم به همون نقاشی، ولی همونطور که میدونید برای تبدیل نقاشی به معماری ما خیلی ترجمه این وسط نیاز داریم. خیلی این دوتا باید زحمت بکشیم که معماری و نقاشی به هم نزدیک بشن. نمی‌ترسیم.
So we tried many versions of the design, like this one, which is like inspired by healthy pill.
Inspired by, sorry, what?
The pill.
Okay.
Pill.
Okay. و خیلی مدل مختلفی رو طراحی کردم و امتحان کردم، مثل این که تحت در واقع الهام گرفتم از قرص، از کپسول.
Capsule, yeah. This was inspired by the breathing skin.
و این رو من تحت تاثیر یک چیز ایده‌ای که تو ذهنم بود، یک پوستی بود که تنفس میکنه.
This one's a kind of how do you say, you know, the suicide bridge idea is still lingering, so it's right off the rack.
و این مدل، این واریانتی که طراحی کردم که یک نزدیکی داره به اون پل خودکشی که اول تو اون اسکچ قدیمی بهتون نشون دادم.
But I didn't like it at all of them. So I was pondering for a day, and suddenly something, epiphany came. And I called him, Mr. Kim. There are so many Kims in Korea, you know. They're all different people. Mr. Kim, send me your fingerprint. Send me your fingerprint. And he says, why? Just send it to me.
و یک دفعه یک روز تو دفتر یک فکری به ذهنم رسید و به این آقای کیم تماس گرفتم. خیلی فامیلشون کیم خیلی فامیل مرسومیه توی کره و گفتم که اثر انگشتتو برام بفرست عکسشو. گفت چرا میخوای؟ گفت کاریت نباشه، بفرست تو برام اثر انگشت.
So that's his fingerprint.
و این اثر
He loved it. Fingerprint. So he loved it and I loved it because of course this shape you can see it somewhere else, but it's different because this has a meaning. This has a meaning. It's his fingerprint. So he loved it and I loved it. We had a great time.
و این پروژه رو من در واقع تحت تاثیر، یعنی اون اثر انگشت رو تبدیل کردم به این پوسته برای این پروژه نسکین و هم اون خیلی دوست داشت و من خیلی دوست داشتم و بالاخره به توافق رسیدیم.
Get this the other view.
این یک دید دیگه ایه.
Other view, sections and other views, yeah.
Section و دید دیگه از بالا.
Interior view.
دید داخلی.
And I like playing around with the idea. So, you know, this is a finger tower. So what do you do with it? You know, you can swear with it.
و این نقاشیه که من تحت تاثیر این برج انگشتی کشیدم.
Yes. And this was I had an exhibition in Brussels in 2017. And at that time, Mr. Kim Jong-un, the chairman of North Korea, was threatening everyone in the world about his missiles, right? And I was playing off from him. I'm playing with him. Okay, you play. Okay, I have a lot of buildings in Korea. I'm an architect, but they're all missiles, you know. They're all missiles. That's what I said to them. So I was using the news as an ingredient for my exhibition.
سال 2017 یک نمایشگاه توی بروکسل داشتم در بلژیک و اون موقع دقیقا همزمان بود با وقتی که رئیس جمهور کره شمالی داشت با موشکاش همه دنیا رو تهدید میکرد و من گفتم که الان من میخوام تو رو به چالش بکشم. منم یک عالمه موشک دارم که این ساختمان من موشکای منم که اینو به این شکل به نمایش در آوردم توی این نمایشگاه.
Okay, now we go to the real build project from now on. It's a wind house. It's in Jeju Island, which is, this is Korea. Jeju Island, this small island here. And there's a lot of wind. It's a windy, very windy island, but beautiful island. A lot of honeymoon goers go there.
خب الان میرسیم به پروژه ساخته شده. این پروژه اسمش خونه باد هست در جزیره ججو که جزیره ججو قسمت جنوب کره جنوبی یک جزیره قرار داره که خیلی جزیره زیباییه و خیلی برای ماه عسل میرن اونجا، ولی خیلی باد هست این جزیره و بادهای زیادی میوزه در اینجا.
Okay, the story starts with a long way back. A client long time ago came to Jeju Island and he wanted me to design a wind museum. So I imagined the first thing that came to mind about wind is a woman with long hair that flickers in the wind. So that's where it comes from, you know. The shape comes from that idea. The woman's head in the wind.
این پروژه خیلی به قبل برمیگرده. اولین بار کارفرما اومد به من گفت که من میخوام یک موزه باد بسازم و ایده‌ای که به ذهن من رسید یک زن بود که موهاش در باد در واقع کشیده شده و به اهتزاز در اومده و این فرم رو از اون الهام گرفتم.
Okay, so this is about reacting to wind. So I was trying to provide, the concept of the museum was to react to wind, but in a very latent way, meaning it needs time. For example, the wind comes into this slit and inside there are micro fans. The micro fans turn around and generate electricity. And then after a while, the turret, like the tank turret, it turns around. So it's reacting to wind, but not like the sail, not directly, but indirectly. So that was the idea of the wind museum.
و ایده این بود که یک سری فن‌های کوچیک، یک سری پنکه‌های خیلی کوچیکی توی این برج کار بذارم که باد که از این شکاف وارد میشه اینا بیان و جمعشن از اون سمت خارج شه و این باعث چرخش این برج بشه، برخلاف قایق بادبونی که داره خودش باد رو به سطحش میگیره. این اینجوری نیست، این در واقع عمود هست بهش و با باد میچرخه.
Another thing about Jeju Island, in winter, it's all turns to gold. It turns to gold and the basalt rock is a lot of black. So you see, your impression of Jeju Island in winter is gold and black. Gold and black. So it's like Johnny Walker Black Label almost. Then you want to drink that.
و میگه که این تصویری که ما داریم در زمستون از ججو آیلند تصویریه که یک تصویر طلایی و همراه سنگه. این همه این گیاهایی که هستش اونجا همه یک دفعه خشک میشن و رنگ طلایی یک دسته میگیره در کنار رنگ تیره سنگا و این همش تو ذهنم بود از تصویر این جزیره طلایی و سیاه.
So I'll start the movie, okay? I'll show you a movie about the building. It's 5 minutes. It's a very, yeah.
Perfect.
Enjoy it.
Thanks. خب حالا یه فیلمی میخوایم ببینیم در مورد این پروژه. We don't have the sound maybe or
Don't have the sound?
Oh, okay.
You hear it now?
Yes, yes.
You want it louder or
a little
okay?
louder, please? If possible. Yeah.
That's the maximum I can do.
That's good. Thanks.
Yeah. The shape comes from here. Look, see the wind. The client is a crazy doctor. He wants something special. So the wind museum became a recycled. I recycled that idea. That's him.
این کارفرماه.
Looking into his eye. He's an eye doctor. So I'm looking into his eyes.
بعد
maybe his
چشمش
brain.
نگاه می‌کنیم برای اینکه دکتر چشم پزشک است.
A lot of tangerines in Jeju Island. It's very famous fruit, tangerine. Jeju Island, yeah.
خیلی نارنگی هست توی این جزیره که خیلی معروفه اونجا این جزیره بهش. مرکبات.
It's moving, yes. That was the intention.
داره حرکت میکنه همونطوری که قصدمون بود.
A new type of basalt rock is born. A new type.
یک تایپ جدیدی اینجا به دنیا میاد.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to recycle ideas. So the wind museum was never really went through, but I showed to this client who wants something very different. I showed it to him, he loved it. So you can sometimes recycle ideas. Don't be too disappointed.
امیدوارم که دوست داشته باشید فیلم رو، ولی اون پروژه موزه باد پیش نرفت متاسفانه، ولی من خیلی وقتا ایده هام رو بازیافت میکنم از پروژه قدیمی و این ایده رو از پروژه قدیمی آوردم به این کارفرما معرفی کردم و دوست داشتش.
So this kind of buildings is called pension, where like a lot of people, it's like a hotel, like a bed and breakfast. You go and enjoy. It's in Jeju Island. And so there was, beside the wind and everything, the moving thing, we found some contractor who could make it move around. But then budget was really going high, so we discarded that idea. That's why it's in the movie. So so that was intention. I showed it in the movie. And the spatially, that golden thing is a very, how do you say, very cozy space. We in Korea like to allude to of a woman space. Before you were born, you were in your mother's womb, so we call it space. Very cozy. And on the drawing on the right, I was trying to make it like an ocarina, a musical instrument also. So wind goes through, and so there were many ideas, but some were put into reality, some were not.
و اون پروژه چون که هزینه چرخوندن این خیلی زیاد میشد، ما دیگه صرف نظر کردیم از چرخوندن این، ولی ایده های مختلفی در مورد این فضا و چی بودنش داشتیم. یک ایده این بود که یک چیزی مثل رحم میمونه، مثل اینکه شما تو دراینگ سمت چپ ببینید، مثل اینکه اینا در شکم مادرشون هستن این آدما، و سمت راست ایده یک جور ساز، انگار که بادها بیان از این سوراخ‌ها عبور کنن و یک صدایی رو تولید کنن.
There's a diagram below, and it explains the most traditional Korean houses. The house was important, but the walls of the defining plot was also very important. An interplay between the wall and house was important. So I incorporated that idea. And secondly, because of Jeju Island is so windy, many Jeju Island is like houses like this. It's very low. There's the wall and you see a bit of roof. So that also I took into account.
و خب تو پلان پایین میبینید که این دو بخش، یه بخش یک سری دیوارن و بخش خونه است که خیلی برای من مهم بود موقعیت دیوارا و این حجمی که بالاش قرار میگرفت. توی این جزیره ججو گفتم به خاطر باد زیادی که میاد، خونه ها خیلی ارتفاع کمی دارن و همشون یه ذره از وقتی رد میشین کنارشون یه ذره از سقفش معلومه، همشون رفتن پایین برای اینکه باد نگیرن و این پروژه هم در واقع ارتفاع قسمت خونه که اون پایینه خیلی کوتاه.
So this is the general view. I'll just pass through many views you can see. So as you can see in this picture, the windows are really low. The door is higher, the window is low, and the building itself is very low. So it's trying to be accommodating to the weather, understanding, trying to be playing with the weather.
و تو این تصویر میبینید که پنجره ها خیلی ارتفاع کمی دارن به خاطر همین مسئله مشکل باد، ولی درها بلندترن به هر حال برای اینکه نیاز هستش.
But then there's some kind of miracle or some accident on the left. What is that? So that's the idea.
و ناگهان یک دفعه یک معجزه یا یک تصادفی رو ما این بالا میبینیم که یک دفعه در مواجهه باهاش میگیم این چیه دیگه، و ایده همین.
So this is another view. That's the inside, and this is the close up of that building.
و این دیدهای مختلفی از پروژه بود و جایی که این پروژه رو هم جمع‌بندی می‌کنه.
You go up the stairs.
از پله بالا میریم اینجا.
And there's no door, but its door is on the floor. You hatchback, so you push it up, and like a car, it opens up.
در نداره، اون صفحه‌ای که اون وسط پایین می‌بینی مثل یک کشتی یا یک وسیله صنعتی، شما در رو از پایین هل میدید به سمت بالا باز میشه و میاد بیرون از اون پله زیر.
So it has at the end there's a bedroom, and on the left there's the shower, on the right there's the toilet, there's the closet, and there's kitchen, and in front there's the sofa.
و پشت سر تخت رو میبینید، حموم ها رو میبینید در دو طرف، سمت راست قسمت کمد لباس رو میبینید و همینطور مبلی که اون پشت قرار داره.
This the other view. So it has everything. It's a simple house, but it has everything. Yeah.
و خونه ساده ایه ولی همه چیزایی که خونه رو داره اینم داره.
Next one is another house in Jeju Island for my brother.
پروژه بعدی خونه دیگری است در همین جزیره ججو برای برادرم.
Now, at first, we decided to do a very undescriptive house, like Jeju Island again, right? A lot of wind, so let's put it low, very low house, going into that. He loved the idea at first. Oh, Mr. Moon, good, good, good. And there's a hint of wind, there's a hint of the opening, right? Even though it's concrete, there's a gesture of wind. Mm-hmm. And also there's a horizontal window where you go in and you see the horizon of the island, which is really great. And as you see in the sketch below, there's the atrium in the middle. And at night, the light will light up and it will remind you of Marguerite's drawing, like the stone floating, right? Stone floating, because the light and the stone floating. So I was excited.
این ایده این پروژه این بود که مثل بقیه پروژه ججو آیلند که گفتم خیلی کوتاه باشه و شما خیلی اینو کوتاه ببینید و اون حجمی که اون بالا هست انگار توی موج باد قرار گرفته و بهش موج افتاده با اینکه بتون هست. همینطور منو یاد این تعلیق اون حجم اون بالا منو یاد نقاشی رن ماگریت مینداخت و یک جور حالت مرموزی که این ساختمون داشت.
But the funny thing is that my brother is also very temperamental and whimsical. He said, my brother, I have changed my mind. Somehow, I don't like it anymore. What do you mean? The design's finished. No, it's too hidden. I want to show off to my friends. This doesn't show.
برادر من یکم مودیه و فکرش عوض میشه و یک دفعه اومد گفت من اینو دوست ندارم. این پروژه خیلی کوتاه و خیلی متواضع. من میخوام یه پروژه‌ای باشه که خیلی برجسته باشه و من بتونم پوزش رو به دوستان بدم.
So I made it visible for him. I made it stand up. I made it stand up and rotate it. And because it's maybe too windy, I have to bind it up. So that was how the second house was born, called Simple House. Yes.
و این رو من برش کردم بلندش کردم برای اینکه برجسته بشه و چرخوندمش به قطعات مختلف تقسیم کردم و به خاطر مسئله باد اومدم در آخرین مرحله اینا رو به هم بستم همه.
So these are plans, rotating plans, and that's the view of the house from afar.
و این اون پلان‌هایی بود که میدید که میچرخیدن روی هم و این دید این خونه از بیرون.
Another view.
و دید دیگری.
I think the bracing doesn't really help structurally. It's more like a decoration. But what it does, it spatially defines space. So it's very important in this house because that thing crossing diagonally somehow creates a space, which is very important in this house.
این قطعات کجی که میبینید، قطعات المان‌های خطی که میبینید، اینا شاید بخاطر تصورتون اصلا نقش سازه خاصی رو ایفا نمی‌کنن و بیشتر دارن یک جورایی فضا سازی میکنن برای من و فضاها و زون‌های این ساختمون رو یک جورایی مشخص میکنن، مرزش رو مشخص میکنن.
So since I rotated it, there are many balconies available. So each balcony has a function. One has a jacuzzi, one has like plants and all. So it's all different. One for eating out. So he loved that idea because around his house, it's all open view. So he had an expansive view around which he loved. And also each box has a balcony also in front of it. So it's protecting it's a buffer zone to kind of, protect from the wind also, from rain. Yeah.
و این خونه خیلی بالکن‌های زیادی داره به خاطر فرمش در جهات مختلف و هر بالکن یک فانکشنی داره. یکیش جکوزی همونطور که سمت چپ می‌بینین، یکیش برای توش گیاه هست، یکی برای غذاخوریه و خیلی ایده رو دوست داشت و ساختمون چون به اطراف بازه و ویو خوبی داره خیلی ایده خوبی بود و یک در واقع چنین کیفیتی ایجاد شد در دور ساختمون.
The central staircase also works as a library. So you can sit down and read books.
و این محوطه دور پله تبدیل شد به یک جور کتابخونه که شما میتونید هر جایی متوقف بشید و کتاب بخونید.
My brother likes to cook, and he's also a doctor, but so he makes a lot of money, so he spent a lot of money in the kitchen. It's made in Italy. All this kitchen comes from Italy.
و برادرم خیلی به آشپزی علاقه داره و وضع مالی خوبی هم داره و کل آشپزخونه رو به صورت کامل از ایتالیا خریده و وارد کرده.
On top, that's there's a bathroom on top. There's his living room. So he wanted his house very simple inside. That's why I call him Simple House. That's why I call it Simple House, because my brother said, "Keep it simple, brother, inside." So I said, "Okay, I'll do a simple house for you."
و خیلی برادرم دوست داشت که خونه ساده داشته باشه که همه چیز در داخل خونه هست و این برای همین اسمش سیمپل هاوس، خونه ساده، که نتیجه اون تفکر.
Okay, the next project, this is about a very small private cultural center in about an hour from Seoul. It's called Two Moon because the client saw a movie called Two Moon Junction. I don't know whether you have seen it. It's a B-grade erotic thriller movie, which was American movie, which was really popular a long time ago. We grew up with it. So he was inspired by that, and he wanted to make some space that inspires him, like the movie. Thus, Two Moon, yes.
پروژه بعدی که بهتون نشون میدم یک پروژه فرهنگی ولی خصوصیه در اطراف سئول که اسمش 2 ماه هست و دلیلش اینه که این برمیگرده به یک فیلم معروفی کره‌ای که این کارفرما بهش علاقه‌مند بوده و خواسته که از اون ایده الهام بگیره، ایده 2 ماه.
Before going further, I'd like to explain just 3 buildings that's mixed-use building that I've done. 3 of them tries to be like the set of a movie, you know, the facade becomes a set. So it tries to bring festival to the street. So the Two Moon has a big balcony where people you are focused, the concave is focal point, and the balcony is where the beautiful ladies will be drinking. So it will be a lure and people will come in. The second one is a K-pop building, which is for K-pop wannabes. So the big balcony in the middle could be devised as a performing ground. So the street will turn into something else. The one in below is a design that wasn't built, but it's for the brand called Shanghai Tang. So that street is famous for fashion. So I devised a bridge runway with the building, so the fashion show could happen almost every day.
و این پروژه ها همه به هم مربوط. این پروژه که من طراحی کردم تو همه اینا انگار من یک ست برای نمایش طراحی کردم. سمت چپ تمرکز روی اون احجامی هست که کارو شدن در اومدن از ساختمون اون 1/4 دایره ها و اون بالا یک محلیه برای نوشیدن آدما و خانوم ها و جایی که آدما توجهشون بهش جلب میشه. سمت راست انگار که یک استیجی من درست کردم، اون وسط یک بالکنی هست برای هنرمندان پاپ کره‌ای در آینده که بیان اونجا و در واقع نمایش بدن و در پایین یک بالکنی هست در محیط این ساختمون در کنار جدارش که داره حرکت میکنه که یک ساختمان فشن شوه و یک رانوی، یک محل در واقع نمایش رو که راهرو هست در جداره این ساختمان طراحی کرد.
Okay, this is the plan. The plan is very simple. I'll pass that. So it's 2 buildings because he has a brother. So one for the younger brother and one for him. And it's recessed because of the site, and that gives interesting views because it's slightly back.
این ساختمون 2 تیکه از 2 تا ساختمون در حقیقت به خاطر اینکه برای 2 تا برادر هست. هر برادر یکی از اینا رو داره و علت این که با هم صد نیستن یکیشون عقب نشینی کرده قوانین سایت بودن که باعث شد که اون بره عقب و اتفاقا یک افکت جالبی رو درست کرده این مسئله.
As you can see, there's a horoscope, one for the client and one for the brother. So I expressed the horoscope as lights because it's the moon, right? Moon and stars. So that's one of the theme of the building.
همونطور که می‌بینید هوروسکوپ هست توی اینجا و ماه و ستاره هایی که و این که به شکل نورها روی نمای ساختمون ما داریم.
I just pass through these images. So you have to, there's depth. So in order to go to the shop, you go between the building and then you go into the building.
اینا تصاویر پروژه است. برای اینکه شما وارد این مغازه بشین باید که یا این فضا بشین باید از لای این دو تا ساختمون وارد بشین، فضای شکاف بین این دو تا ساختمون وارد بشین.
On the top floor there is a large open space, and you go through this alley and then you find a large space.
و در طبقه بالا یک فضای بزرگ رو ما داریم که از این مسیر که میریم به اون میرسیم.
And that's inside. You see the inside. It's before it was fully furnished. It's you can see the shape of the moon and all that. And there's a lot of vocabulary of this. The dome is evident everywhere. So the dome is either concave or convex. So it becomes a window or spatial quality. So very simple building, just with a box. And concave convex. That's all this is the basic vocabulary of the building.
و فضاهای داخلی این فضای بزرگ رو می‌بینید قبل از اینکه فرنیچر بیاد اونجا و تمام این زبان دایره، گنبد و تهدب و تحقری که شما می‌بینید زبان فرمی این پروژه که این پروژه رو شکل دادن.
And that's the garden for the third floor, outdoor garden.
و این باغ طبقه سوم هست که فضای خارجی داره باز.
Now the K-pop curve. This building, as I said earlier, it's for K-pop wannabes. So they live here together and train to become singers. But to tell you the truth, they didn't succeed. This company didn't succeed. So not everyone becomes famous. So no, I think someone else is using it now.
این پروژه‌ای که من برای ستارگان آینده پاپ کره‌ای، خوانندگان آینده جوان طراحی کردم که قرار بود بیان اینجا و با هم در واقع ساکن بشن و کار کنن و معروف بشن، ولی این کار نکردیم ایده و الان استفاده دیگه‌ای داره میشه این ساخت.
So the basic concept was the celebration of corner and providing a balcony or penetrating space where performance could happen, and a stair that leads outward that leads to the top where the parties could happen. So there are the curve that celebrates the curve, and the balcony that's put in for performance box, and the stair that leads to the top where parties can happen.
و ایده پروژه شامل در واقع این بالکونا هستن، این کرو هایی هستن که پروژه رو از بیرون شکل دادن و اون پله‌ای که میره به سمت بالا.
Past that. And as you can see, the architect was fantasizing the possibility of the performance, which never happened.
و همونطور که می‌بینید من تخیل من رو تو تصویرها می‌بینیم در مورد این اجراهایی که قراره تو این فضا بشه که البته اتفاق نیفتاده.
So this is a very typical neighborhood, new town neighborhood, typical new town neighborhood. It sits with a focal point.
و این یک محله در یک شهرک جدیدی هست که این پروژه در اینجا قرار گرفته و در یک نقطه مشخصی با یک تمرکزی روی این چهارراه روی این گوشه واقع شده پروژه.
I'll just go through this various views from streets. Various views. The rear is also different. It has a sunken garden also.
دیدهای مختلفش رو می‌بینین، همینطور یک باغچه چاله مانند داره که پایین.
Because in Korea, usually because small piece of land very expensive, they try to dig a lot. So you need sunken garden for ventilation. Yeah.
و به دلیل اینکه زمین گرونه در اینجا خیلی وقتا خیلی حفر میکنن زمینو و خیلی داخل میرن، به این دلیل نیاز به این چاله ها داریم برای اینکه بتونید نور و هوا رو برسونید به فضای پایین.
That's the staircase to the basement.
پله زیرزمین.
Dancing. So for the basement, that's where they practice dancing.
این زیرزمین جایی که اینا تمرین رقص میکنن.
First floor is usually they rent it out because you can get a lot of expensive rent from the building. So first floor they rent it out because you can get a lot of money from it.
طبقه اول رو اجاره دادن برای اینکه درآمد خوبی ازش میتونستن کسب کنن.
The outdoor staircase, there is always a discussion about this because Korea, it's cold in winter and it snows. So many clients tries to put windows there. They always say, please put glass. But I said, it's good for the ventilation. So somehow the client understood for the architect.
و کره برای اینکه سرد هواش همیشه دوست دارن که به هر حال ساختمون بسته باشه، بیرون پنجره باشه. ولی من خیلی سعی کردم کارفرما رو راضی کنم که اینجا پنجره نذاریم، به خاطر تهویه هوا باز بذاریم جدار بیرونی ساختمون.
So bottom left, you can see some wooden place. That's where you can sit down and rest.
و سمت چپ یک سری صفحات چوبی می‌بینید، تاقچه مانند که میتونید اونجا بشینید یا استراحت کنید.
That's the office, second floor.
و آفیس در طبقه دوم.
That's where the trainees sleep. It's a house for the trainees.
این جایی که در واقع خونه کارآموزا هست، جایی که اسکان داره.
And that's the barbecue place.
و اینم فضای باربیکیو هستش.
So this one I'll pass quickly. This one is about it's about the fashion store. This wasn't built. We did everything, construction drawings and everything, but the client, there was, I think, some recession at 2008, I think, in Korea also. So they couldn't bring in the brand. But anyway, that's the fashion store.
و این مغازه فشن هست که بهتون گفتم قبلا که به خاطر بحران اقتصادی موفق نشدن که اینو بسازن.
And actually, I also put water pipes under the bridge. So, you know, in summer, it would be really nice to go through the water like Tazan, you know.
یک جور فواره آب رو به پایین درست کردم که تابستونا میتونه خیلی جالب باشه که برن زیرش.
Okay, this is a house called Esmahar. It's about 1 hour away from Seoul.
و این خونه به اسم اسماهار که در 1 ساعتی سئول قرار داره.
This is the river. It has a good view.
و این رودخونه است که ویو خوبی هم داره اینجا.
This is the client.
این کارفرماه.
They are both animal doctors.
هر دو
But they are not very happy. They are not very happy people. They are not very happy people.
هر دوتاشون دامپزشکن ولی خیلی آدمای خوشحالی نیستن متاسفانه.
He's my high school friend, but he's always looking for something. He's looking for something new, looking for new hobbies. So he is always moving around. So the concept of the house was moving around. You become butter, like the Jungle Book. Turn around, and you can go anywhere. So the house has you can enter the house in any form. So you can enter from a room. So it doesn't. It's decentralized. So it hasn't. Yeah.
Sorry. و این کارفرما دوست دوره دبیرستان منه که همیشه دنبال یه چیزیه، همیشه دنبال گشتنه. هی میخواد واسه هم یک فضای واسه خونش درست کردم که مرکز گریز، مرکز مشخص نداره ولی یک فضا درست کردم که همینجوری توش دور بزنن و بگردن.
So that's the plan. So also this house sort of, I think it's my experience with Korean traditional house is somehow inherent here because my experience of that space where intermediate space, where it's inside outside is blurry. I try to do a lot of that there. And the other thing I did was I'm really interested in the strange looking plots, jagged edges. And I just copy that for the house. So I offset and there is the house. And I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
و من خب توی ضمیر خودم این فرمت خونه‌های سنتی کره‌ای رو دارم و خیلی دوست دارم که مرز بین داخل و بیرون محضه و خیلی مشخص نیست و مرتب شما از داخل به بیرون و برعکس میرین توی خونه و همینطور این لبه‌های شکسته شده که توی پلان پروژه می‌بینید اینا باز یکی از همین عناصر سنتیه که من سعی می‌کنم استفاده کنم تو کارم.
So it has many courtyards, and it also has a pool. Even it's a pool. There's a pool in the middle.
و یک سری حیاط مرکزی داره و همینطور یک استخری که مشاهده می‌کنید.
That's the second floor where my clients could see out to the river, and also he's a devout Christian, so he likes to give prayers. So that's what that's for. The second floor.
و این فضایی که طبقه بالایی که دید داره به رودخونه و همینطور این کارفرمای من یک مسیحی معتقده که دوست داره در اون فضا رو به ویو دعا کنه.
That's the section. You can see the pool where you can swim and go into the center of the atrium of the house. So it's somehow interconnected that way. And from the bathroom, you can jump into the pool also.
و این استخر همونطور که تو سکشن میبینید یکی از مسیرهای ورودی به خونه است که شما میتونید برید داخل شنا کنید، از زیر اون تیکه ساختمون عبور کنید و سر از اون حیاط مرکزی در بیارید. همینطور از تو دستشویی یا حموم میتونید بپرید داخل این استخر.
Okay, he's an animal doctor. He didn't have any children. He had 3 cats, I think, and 2 dogs. So I was envisioning an animal house where you could take the dogs around the ambulatory like every day. Yes. And the other important thing, okay, wind is every time I'm interested in wind. Okay, devised a curtain around the house for 2 reasons. One for privacy, and one for action. But the problem is it's too windy. So when we built it, it's too windy.
و ایشون این کارفرمای من بچه نداره ولی 3 تا گربه و 2 تا سگ داره و یک فضایی می‌خواست که توش همش بتونه بگرده، واسه همین مناسبش بود. از طرف من اومدم از این پرده ها استفاده کردم، هم برای پرایوسی و امنیت دید و هم برای اینکه یک اکشنی رو وارد بازی کنیم، وارد این طرح خونه کنیم. ولی مسئله اینجا بود که خیلی باد میومد و مرتب اینا در حرکت.
So another picture of it. So my friend and I really enjoyed it. We said to each other, God, the house is going to float soon.
و من و دوستم این صحنه رو که دیدیم گفتیم الانه که خونه تو این باد معلق بشه.
So that's the general view of the house when it's not windy.
و این دید خونه است وقتی که باد نمیاد.
House on the left is kind of a traditional Korean house, the roof, a lot of houses look like that also in Korea.
خونه که سمت چپ می‌بینین این خونه سنتی تیپیکال کره‌ایه با سقف شیروانی که خیلی جاها توی کره اون طرح اون تایپ رو می‌بینید.
The side view.
دید بغل.
That's the house with a curtain and without the curtain.
و این خونه با پرده و بدون.
I'll run through these. These are various views.
دیدهای مختلف.
And I made the catwalk for the cats. I literally made a catwalk, but very slippery, so cats don't like it. They slip. Anyway, and so one of the courtyards is just for the dogs and cats.
من به صورت به معنای کلمه کتواک درست کردم، یک مسیر، یک رمپی برای پیاده روی گربه، ولی متاسفانه خیلی سره و گربه از اونجا میفته. و سمت پایین تصویرم یک کورتیارد و یک حیاط مرکزی رو میبینید، حیاط خلوتی رو میبینید که من برای گربه و سگا طراحی کردم فقط.
Okay, then you can see the pool here. Something wrong with the pool though, because we didn't have the budget, so we did not fit it with the filtering system. So what happened was frogs and all the insects came. So it wasn't a pool for humans, it became a pool for animals.
و همونطور که تو تصویر می‌بینید ما یه استخر واقعی نتونستیم درست کنیم به خاطر اینکه بودجه پروژه محدود بود و ما نتونستیم سیستم فیلتر آب درست کنیم و در نتیجه شد محلی واسه حشرات و قورباغه‌ها و دیگه شد تبدیل به یک استخر که نه برای آدم‌ها زیاد نیست و بیشتر برای همون حیوانات.
Another thing I want to mention is this door, red door. It's kind of the humor of the house. So it's for security. So when people try to open it, you bang your head and you fall into the water. That's no, actually it happened. I designed it, but I banged and I almost fell.
و این دره برای امنیت ساختمون ما این در رو یه جوری طراحی کردیم که وقتی میایین اینو باز کنید به محض اینکه باز کنید بالای دره که زده بیرون میخوره تو پیشونیتون و احتمال داره بیافتید تو استخر و واقعا این برای من اتفاق افتاده.
So as you can see, if it's not windy, the curtain is very important as a private wall, like a soft wall that becomes a room.
و اون پرده‌ای که می‌بینید تو اینجا نقش یک دیوار نرم رو داره بازی میکنه و انگار که داره یک اتاق رو تعریف میکنه.
So these are various views of the interior.
این دیدهای مختلف داخلیه.
Now, why the house flying? Because at that time I was interested in Second Life. Do you know Second Life? It's before now we talk about metaverse. Anyway,
yeah.
So I was really interested in Second Life. So I designed my reality. I want to transport my reality into digital world. So, but then how? I need a narrative. Okay, I need some sort of story. So that's why I did this. Okay, the UFO, which I call unfriendly flying object. Unfriendly. Okay, the unfriendly flying object comes and takes away the boiler room, but the house is a coward. The house is very scared and it lifts off, and the prayer room becomes a cockpit and it runs away. It runs away over to India. Why India is here? Why Esmaha? Well, there's a story. This guy, I told you, he's a little bit strange, and he said, I want to put Christianity into Indian people. And I said, well, you are such a crazy idea. No, I think you should never do it. So that's why I made this movie, so that he goes past Taj Mahal and then find your own island, okay? Find your own island instead. Go to digital world instead.
Okay, it's a long story. I have to.
All right.
So, داستان اینه که یک داستانی رو داره میگه که این خونه رو من یک قصه یک روایتی میخواستم در موردش بگم و انگار که یک سیستم تناسخ یک زندگی دومی برای این خونه تصور کردم، چیز شبیه متاورس یا یک واقعیت دیجیتال مجازی. و داستان اینه که یک UFO که اسمشو میذاره unfriendly object، یعنی یک سفینه ای از فضا که خیلی هم دوستانه نیست میاد و یه تیکه از بویلر این خونه رو میگیره و با خودش میبره و این خونه وحشت میکنه و شروع به پرواز میکنه و در آسمون پرواز میکنه و میره به سمت تاج محل. به این علت که کارفرمای این پروژه که من بهتون گفتم مسیحی معتقدیه و ایده های عجیب غریبی داره واقعا. مثلا میگفت من میخوام که مسیحیت رو به مردم هند و به هندوها ببرم و من بهش گفتم که این خیلی ایده جالبی نیست، این کار نمیکنه این ایده تو، و در نهایت این خونه میره و جزیره خودش رو پیدا میکنه و در جزیره خودش مستقر میشه.
Okay, this next project is called Rocket Suda, and this is like the Wind House pension where people come for weekend. It's about 3 hours away from Seoul, and it's a beautiful landscape everywhere. So that's the context.
این پروژه اسمش راکت سوداه که مثل ویند هاوس پروژه خونه باد. این هم یک پانسیون هستش و 3 ساعتی سئول قرار داره در یک منظره‌ای که اینجا مشاهده می‌کنید در طبیعت.
Okay, the client, I must talk about the client because he's traveled to Spain and he saw bullfights and he said, he was so interested. He found it very impressive. So he wanted to make something that reminds him of the bullfight. So I said, okay, simple. Put a horn into the house. why not? They said, oh, that's a good idea. So that's how it became. Okay, you can do the curtain too, but I've done the curtain already, so I don't want to repeat. So that's why the horn. Okay. Now, once I did that, he was happy. So we had needed other types. One, the other type you do it yourself. And I said, okay, I like planes, so I'll do a stealth. Another one is a Ferrari, all these things. The other one's a woman, related, Bobby, whatever. And you can see the diagrams on top. You can see it's with a simple module. I expanded it and then I contracted it, and I became with the simple gestures. Like many kids, you have many kids, right? They look all similar or different. So with a simple idea, I was trying to create a lot of things.
And the other و این کارفرمای این پروژه خیلی علاقه داشت، خیلی اسپانیا میرفت و علاقه داشت به گاوبازی و گفت من میخوام یه جوری ربطی پیدا کنه به این علاقه و گفتم چیکار کنم؟ گفتم بیایم شاخ بذاریم برای این خونه و میشد از پرده یا پارچه قرمز هم استفاده کنم، ولی قبلا اون کارو کرده بودم، نمیخواستم خودم تکرار کنم و گفتیم پس یکی از این خونه ها، یکی از این واحدها شاخ داره. بقیه‌شون چی؟ گفت بقیه‌شو تو بگو. من بقیه‌شو فکر کردم من به چه آبجکتی علاقه دارم؟ به اون هواپیما علاقه دارم، به اون ماشین فراری علاقه دارم، به اون باربیا یا اون مجسمه و خانومه علاقه دارم و سعی کردم همه اینا منبع الهامی بشه برای این فرما. همه فرمایی که انگار از یک خانواده‌ان، همه انگار یک سری بچه هستن که هم به هم شبیهن ولی هم در این حال با هم متفاوت.
And at that time, I was thinking of my architecture with a title called Action Architecture. Action.
اون موقع من داشتم فکر می‌کردم که معماریم رو با عنوان معماری اکشن بخوام توصیف کنم.
Like the action movie, So everything moving has a tail, right? Even in a macro scale and micro scale, everything that moves has a tail. So I was trying to put this idea into this building also.
و هر چیزی که حرکت میکنه یک دنباله‌ای داره، یک دومی داره، چه در مقیاس کوچیک و چه در مقیاس بزرگ، و من سعی کردم که این رو در کار بگنجونم.
So I put a tail into the rear of the house, and that's not just for the decoration, but it's a giant hammock, so people can play.
و من یک دومی ته این خونه ها گذاشتم که این فقط دکور نیست، بلکه یک همکه یا یک پارچه، یک سطح توری منعطفیه که آدما میتونن روش بپرن و بازی کنن.
And even the Ferrari, the red one, I think I tried to connect it to the river even, but then it was too complex and too expensive, so that was discarded.
اون قرمزه که برای فراری بود خیلی پیچیده بود و خیلی بزرگ بود این چیزی که می‌خواستم درست کنم و کنار گذاشتم.
That's the basic plan. So there are three pensions, and then there's below them there are also very simple one hidden. Maybe it's not, the picture's not here. There's a pool, and there's also a cafeteria at the left corner, left below corner also. That's the site plan.
و این در واقع 3 تا پانسیون هم در یک طبقه و 3 تا دیگه در طبقه پایینن، استخر داریم و کافتریا تو این محل.
So that's the general view.
این دید کلی از بیرون.
And even the construction people enjoyed doing this job, looking at the big horn.
و حتی سازنده ها، کارگرها براشون جالب بود و خوششون اومد از ساختن و نصب کردن این شاخه‌های بزرگ ساختن.
So this is a view in the winter.
و این دیده در زمستون.
Close up.
دیده نزدیک.
And you can see there in the horizontal, there's also a pension below, right? You can see the horizontal. There are 2 pension that goes on the horizon. Yeah.
و در پایین می‌بینیم در افق این 2 تا پانسیون دیگه که قرار گرفته.
The other view.
دیگه به پروژه.
And there's the tail.
و دوم.
Another view of the tail.
دیگری از این دوما.
And this picture I like because this somehow reminds you of Picasso, crying woman.
و من این تصویر دوست دارم برای اینکه یه جورایی ما رو یاد پیکاسو میندازه.
And I often express my architecture through comics.
و من معمولاً معماریم رو از طریق کمیک ها، از طریق این گرافیک های کارتونی نمایش میدم.
Well before BRK. Well before BRK.
خیلی قبل از اینکه خیلی قبل از اینکه BRK انگلز.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so inside it's very livable space, but the thing is it's very different spatial experience because it's not straight experience, it's expanding, something's contracting, so it's an exaggerated experience, expanding, contracting. So that's what these spatial experiment is about.
و این تمرین فضایی که اینجا داریم در واقع این کار فضایی که داریم اینجا انجام میدیم اینه که دو تا حس مختلف رو با هم در تضاد نشون دادیم. یکی حس اکسپنشن، گسترش، انبساط در بالا هست و حس انقباض در پایین که این در برابر هم قرار گرفته.
So narrow space is narrower, meaning I make it narrower and higher to emphasize it.
و مثلا برای اینکه من به این فضای باریک تاکید کنم، به باریک بودنش، ارتفاعش رو میبرم بالا.
And the Ferrari is all red, as you can see, and the stealth is all black. Yeah.
و اون خونه فراری قرمز و سیاه، همونطوری که میبینید ماشین فراری است.
So the space is not captured in photos because the Ferrari, it goes really wide and then really low. So you can only really feel it when you are there. The picture doesn't, it's hard to take picture of it.
و تو تصویر خیلی سخته اینو ببینیم، ولی این فضا خیلی به شکل خیلی اگزاجره، ارتفاعش کم میشه این اتاق وقتی به ته اتاق میرسیم که خیلی در عکس گویا نیست.
I would like to call this sporty space. Sporty space. Yeah, it's really narrow. Yeah.
و این یک جور شخصیت فضای اسپورت داره، این باریک شدن فضا.
Okay, these are, just skip through them. These are spaces. I use railings sometimes with soft material. It's a hockey net. So from the drawing, I try to express my drawing into reality, so I'm not hard. So I was talking about soft space. I'm trying to put everything into some cases. I try to do it like the drawing. Yeah.
و همونطور که من تو نقاشیم گفته بودم به اون سافت اسپیس یا اون فضای نرم علاقه دارم، اینجا مثلا اومدم از تور دروازه هاکی استفاده کردم برای به عنوان ریلینگ یا نرده، برای اینکه اون سافتنس رو بیارم به پروژه.
That's the Ferrari, which I pass through that. I'll pass through these. It's all different spaces, different colors. And that's a giant hammock. Students are enjoying themselves.
و این اون دوما که تبدیل به نانوهای بزرگی شدن که دانشجوها میرن و اونجا وقت صرف میکنن.
And these are the future designs I've done already for the future. One's inspired by the comet. The other one, there's no detail, but the other one, at that time I saw transformers, so I had to do it. So one of the building is a transformer. It opens up completely. So I designed that also. But the client is not calling me back now. I don't know.
و این پروژه‌ای که من برای آینده طراحی کردم هنوز ساخته نشدن، ولی یکیشون بر اساس ایده ترانسفورمرها بود تو تصویر می‌بینید، ولی متاسفانه کارفرمای این هنوز به من زنگ نزده که جوابم بده که میخواد این رو یا نه.
So how are we doing with time? I mean, it's being too long. Do you think that we should stop soon or what? What's your idea?
I think we are good. Maybe like if we can wrap up in 15 minutes or so.
15 minutes, okay. I'll go through them very quickly then, okay? I'll go through so because, I could go on forever. So
thank you.
This is a Pinocchio museum.
این موزه پینوکیوه.
Yeah, and the client had 3,000 Pinocchio dolls from around the world. So she wanted a very private museum with a theme of Pinocchio.
و این کارفرما 3000 تا عروسک پینوکیو داشت که می‌خواست که یک کلکسیونی درست کنه با تم پینوکیو در این موزه.
Very simple. One is inspired. I remember a scene where Geppetto and Pinocchio is on a boat, gets swallowed by the whale, and that's what it is. The whale comes out, and the wave is there, and the face of Pinocchio. Those three are the concepts, and the spatial concept also.
و ایده این بود که یک والی هست، یک نهنگی هست که اینجا قرار میگیره و یک موجی وجود داره و این کانسپت‌های بودن که فرم پروژه رو شکل داده.
Okay, enjoy. I'm passing through. Just I want to mention this. Because the budget was low, the scaffolding was, I couldn't design it with a steel one, so they did it, the carpenters, you know, they made a makeshift thing, but as a result, I really like it better because it's like almost like you know, like a graffiti. The shapes. It's rough.
چون که بودجه پروژه محدود بود ما نمیتونستیم از فولاد استفاده کنیم و با چوب اینا ساخته شد، ولی اتفاقا به نظرم جالب شده، یکم شبیه گرافیتی شده شکل.
I'll pass through. You understand. This one is also, it's called an owl house, but that wasn't the intention. It's a mixed-use building for a young couple. It's a mixed-use building in Korea. A lot of mixed-use buildings, a lot of this type of buildings, a lot of them are like that because for two reasons. One's for like utilizing the land and getting the rent also.
خیلی این خونه هم یکی از خونه میکس یوزه که خیلی زیادن در کره و من خیلی دوستشون دارم به این دلیل که یک فضایش رو اجاره میدن و پول در میارن ازش به خاطر اینکه گرون زمین و اسم این خونه هست خونه جغدی که تو فرمش میتونید مشاهده کنید.
So the funny thing, can you see the clock? Can you see the what clock?
عکس اون
the left top.
اون ساعت.
The client wanted the clock on top.
اون کارفرما در واقع یک ساعت می‌خواست همونطور که عقربه‌هاش می‌بینید در اون.
So I find every client is so special.
به نظر من همه کارفرماها خیلی خاص هستن و هر کدوم ویژگی جالبی داره.
I'm the normal one. The client is strange.
من اون آدم نرمالم، اون عجیبه، اون کارفرماه، به خاطر همین عجیب میشن پروژه.
Okay, I just pass through this. Simply, it's another multi-use building, but this is like Herzog's building in someone building, meaning this is maximum you can do. If the sight lines and every regulation, this becomes that. If you want to do maximum, that's it. It's like someone at museum, right? That was inspired by that, the lines, right? Sight lines. Same idea. Yeah.
و این پروژه میکس یوز دیگه است که من از این خطای موجود در سایت استفاده کردم و در پیاده رو و اینا رو امتداد دادم و واسه همین اسمش ماکسیمومه که اگه ما بخوایم ماکسیموم اینا رو امتداد بدیم و به هم برسیم چه فرمی تولید میشه از این در.
Yeah. And this is another mixed use building, but bigger one. I just want to mention that the client said, as I said, the clients are very weird. He said he's Dracula. Previous life, he was Dracula. He said, build me a Dracula's castle so that I can go through walls. And I said, of course I can do it for you. And I answered by providing a private staircase hidden just for him. And he was really happy. So I solved his issues. Yes.
و این پروژه میکسیوز دیگه ایه که اینم یه کارفرما عجیب غریبی داشت که باور داشت در زندگی قبلیش دراکولا بوده و علاقه عجیبی به دراکولا داشت و گفت یک فضای دراکولایی باید برام درست کنی و من یک پله مخصوص مخفی براش درست طراحی کردم که پله دراکولا قرار دادیم توی این ساختمان براش.
Yeah. So always I'm trying to make a movie. I haven't made one yet, but this is how we're going to start, right?
و من همیشه دوست دارم فیلم درست کنم از این پروژه هام. اینو هنوز نساختم ولی این اونجوریه که من این فیلمامو دوست دارم شروع کنم.
I was frustrated because the building in front of me We built at the same time, and he's so big. I have no view anymore, so I was angry. So what can you do? So I'm thinking about just making a game. I'm not going to have war. No, I'm not saying war. We could have a game where we could just destroy buildings for fun. Never in real world, but as a joke.
و اینی که میگم به عنوان جوک از منظور واقعی ندارم، ولی جلوی این ساختمون یک ساختمونی درست شد که بلاک میکرد دید این ساختمونه و من خیلی ناراحت بودم و یه گیمی گفتم میتونیم طراحی کنیم که ما یک سری موشک بذاریم و اون ساختمونه که دوست نداریم جلومون رو حذف کنیم با استفاده از این.
When you've done something wrong, run away.
یا وقتی یه کار اشتباهی قرار انجام دادی وقتشه که فرار کنی.
Okay, these are 3 houses. It's based on spiral, the energy of life and DNA. So it's similar. It's small, but then inside. So it's a 2D movement outside, but 3D movement inside. Okay. So it's like a very small house outside, but very big house inside. For young couple, skip floor. Second one was inspired by the first building. He wanted the same building, but a variation on a theme. The third one is another variation of it's called the roll house. The house rolls itself. So it's all spiral on 3 ideas, okay? So I'm passing through to make it more exciting. Yeah, look at that. It's going faster, yes. Now, this house is panorama house. This one was also important because these guys had 4 children, which is very rare in Korea now. And they want independence to these children and no living room, no TV room, just library. So instead of living room, staircase became everything for them. Library, playground, theater, and everything. So a lot of my architect friends complained to me after they saw this. Clients said, we need the slide. You know, every architect was complaining. Why do you do slide in your house? My client is telling me he wants a slide also. So that was a very contagious house.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, contagious house.
خونه‌هایی که بهتون نشون دادم همه کانسپتش بر اساس موومنت و حرکت، بیرون در 2 بعد ولی داخل در 3 بعد. و این خونه که می‌بینیم برای کارفرمایی که 4 تا بچه داشت و به جای یه لیوینگ روم بزرگ من براش یک سرسره بزرگ و یک کتابخونه درست کردم و خیلی اینو دوست دارن و الان همه کارفرماها حالا از من سرسره می‌خوام که واسه ساختمانشون طراحی کنم.
This is a guest house in Jeju Island.
این خونه‌ای در همون جزیره ججو.
Expedia, very popular guest house.
و تو اکسپدیا خیلی خونه معروفیه، مردم خیلی محبوب اینجا رو دوست دارن.
Inspired by the Dragonstone nearby. Yeah.
و این تحت تاثیر مغازه اژدهایی که در اون نزدیکی وجود داره. فرم اژدها داره.
Plane spotting space on top.
و
you go up the plane, you watch the plane. Yeah. Near the airport.
و فضای تماشای هواپیماها اون بالا وجود داره چون نزدیک فرودگاه هستش.
And there's a cinema and on top also cinema.
و یک جور انگار سینمایی اون بالا قرار داده.
Oh, it even has an atrium.
و یه ایتریوم این وسط.
Inside, it's very pleasurable. It's livable. Yeah.
و تا داخل فضای زندگیه، فضای راحت.
This is a sesame seed factory it's a boutique factory in Seoul. Sesame oil.
و این کارخونه یک کارخونه بوتیک تولید روغن کنجد در سئول.
2 things. Open sesame and the door opens. Open sesame, the door opens. Second, it's like a filtering system, so light comes through these space, each layer. It's like a pagoda.
و ایده اینه که مثل کنجد این باز میشه و ورودی ساختمون رو ما داریم و همینطور سیستم فیلتریشن تولید روغنا رو انگار با این فضایی که در هم قرار گرفتن این مراحل فیلتریشن رو داره بازنمایی میکنه.
Okay, I think we have one more now, last one, right? Oh no, we passed through. Okay, this one is also inspired by Mars. Why Mars? Because the town's name is Mars. So thus Mars. That's why the color. And the floors are all like jagged and like angled, even though it's a house. Because you want to feel gravity. Because you feel gravity when the floor is not straight, you feel gravity, right? So that's the concept of the house.
Interesting. اسم این پروژه مارس یا مریخه و علتش اینه که در یک شهری به این اسم قرار داره و همونطور که می‌بینید هم رنگ قرمز نما و هم فضاهای داخل سطوح کف صاف نیستن، همشون شیب دارن برای اینکه به شما حس جاذبه رو بتونن منتقل کنن. وقتی زمین تخته شما واقعا جاذبه رو حس نمی‌کنید، ولی وقتی کج میشه بدنتون با این جاذبه درگیر میشه و بازی میکنه.
Now we are at the final project. Okay, the final presentation of today and expo.
و آخرین
The first concept was like a desert rose that lift up, and then also the idea of Koreanness was expressed through the spontaneous, contagious energy of the Korean people, and it was represented as a spin cube. You know how the card section, the magic card section games we do North Koreans and South Koreans do, so that was also an inspiration.
و جایی که از این الهام گرفته یکی از یک جهت از صحرا، چون سایت دبی بوده، از اون سطح صحرا که انگار بلند شده الهام گرفته و از یه طرف از طرف دیگه از یک بازی معروفی که در کره انجام میشه بین کره جنوبی و شمالی مرسومه، این فرم تحت تاثیر اون بازی هستش.
So the other one important issue was about the shade and the openness of the pavilion, and also respecting the culture of the Arab culture, where the shadow under the tree feeling, when there's a shadow, the great breezes, all these experience in Dubai or Arab countries, I put into this building.
و همینطور توجه به سایه که در کشور عربی خیلی مهمه، با این اوپنینگ هشتی مانند که وجود داره که وارد بشن و در یک سایه قرار بگیرن.
It was a competition and luckily we won.
این پروژه مسابقه بود که ما برنده شدیم.
So that's the facade.
فساد پروژه.
There are 1,600 of them. It's trying to represent, as I said, the spontaneous energy of Koreanness that turns around with energy. And then the ramp also is a means, you know, many things. It could mean binding all energies together, or something living together, or DNA, or the cosmos where everything living is a spiral. You know, you've seen so far that my spiral idea is still here also.
و این 600 تا جعبه رنگی رو می‌بینید که نمیچرخن و یک جوری اون انرژی کره‌ای رو که من در موردش صحبت کردم میخوان منتقل کنن، انرژی که در فرهنگ کره هست و این رمپایی که انگار میخواد بیا اینا رو به هم ببنده و اینا رو با هم متحد کنه و یکی کنه.
So at night becomes more little lights.
و اینجا تو چرخش نورهای مختلفی رو می‌بینید که پترن‌های مختلفی که این درست میکنه.
So many faces.
از جهات مختلف اینو می‌بینیم.
So it's very loud and festival like. That's what I was always talking about, you know. Finally, I've done it. Hey, you know, festival, yeah.
و خیلی شلوغ و پر انرژیه و پرشور و نشاط. این دقیقاً چیزی که من همیشه دنبالش بودم و بالاخره بهش رسیدم توی این پروژه و تونستم انجامش بدم.
So it's very open. So not like other pavilions, it's very open, and then it's not insular, meaning that the ramp weaves through the building, so you are in and out of the building. So you have a great view. So it's never insular. So you're always connected with everyone else.
و فضا بسته نیست، همونطور که می‌بینید یک فضای بازه که شما وارد میشین و مرتب توش میچرخین از طریق رمپ‌ها و همش در یک نتورکی قرار دارین که انگار به همه متصلین، به همه وصلین در این حال.
The other issue is about mirage and miracles, meaning, you know, in the desert, you see mirages, right? So I was thinking of that idea also, the mirages and miracles, not just this hallucinatory spin cubes, but the ramps, in the ramps, you are given a mobile device where you can see miracles. It's augmented reality. So there's not many objects, but you have to look out like this and you see something. So there was the idea also coming from the idea of the desert.
و این ایده سراب در بیابان واسه من جالب بود، این که ما یک توهم سرابی رو یک وقته تو بیابان بهمون دست میده و یک تصویری میبینیم و سعی کردم با این باکس‌های ساده‌ای که رنگ شدن صرفاً یک تصویر خیالی رو بسازم برای کسی که در افق نگاه میکنه به این مجموعه مثل یک سراب.
Okay, almost finished. So that's nightfall. So that's, you know, the strategy that I've shown you is all here. The plot, the plan is you shrink the plot. That's it. Very simple.
و استراتژی ساده‌ای که این فرم این پروژه رو شکل داده می‌بینید. ما صرفاً این زمین رو گرفتیم و کشیدیم به بیرون.
The suicide bridge is no longer suicidal, but it's running around and around.
و اون پل خودکشی که اول بهتون گفتم دیگه برای خودکشی نیست، الان داره میچرخه و حرکت میکنه از این ور اون.
Okay, these are plans. So these are plans and these are sections. And as you can see, it's very open.
و اینا پلان سکشن ها میبینین که فضا چقدر بازه.
So it is one of rare pavilions where you don't become a sausage.
یکی از اون پاویلیون هایی هست که شما تبدیل به یک سوسیس نمیشین توش.
So there's a lot of action.
و خیلی اکشن داره تو این فضا.
And inside there's always a show going on.
و همیشه یک نمایشی داخل داره برگزار میشه.
Well, thank you. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay, it was a little bit long. Yes. But anyway, thanks for listening, guys and girls.
Thank you for bearing with us with the translation. I know.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I enjoyed it.
Okay, but let's open it up to few questions if you have time.
Yeah, sure. I'm open. It's
okay.
I have all day.
Okay, thank you so much. Super inspiring. So many words.
Yesterday, it's better today because yesterday I had something afterwards, so it's much better today. Nothing today, so you can talk how much you want.
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, I use my privilege to ask a few questions, and then I open it to audience, and I read their comments, and I ask you their questions.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed seeing these works as if I'm seeing a free spirit. You know, you call yourself an anarchist, and you're in a way liberating architecture and having fun yourself and making fun spaces for your clients, which is super interesting. But at the same time, does it make you sort of hedonistic, or sometimes like looking for pleasure in the projects? This is my first question. And in a way, like the architecture becomes a little self-indulgent and mostly about the client and yourself. And also related to that, like how do you teach architecture, or how do you try to connect within a common discourse in architecture when it's time to judge a work of architecture?
Well, I think since I explain it in such a way, that it looks more and feels more like it, first of all, because I think architecture is, no matter how free you are, you have to go through the process of getting approvals, and it has to be sound, structurally sound, and the client has a budget that you have to meet the budget. So for me, the only thing I'm not doing is self-censorship. That's it. I think the process is indeed a tedious and serious business, because in order for things to be built, it's always the same process. But I think I explain it in a more exciting way and fun way, so maybe that gets crossed more than usual. But of course I enjoy it, but at the same time there are a lot of things I don't like about it too, but I have to bear it too. Now, on a smaller scale of buildings, I think, as you said, the indulgence of my exuberance and the exuberant idiosyncrasy of my client can work, because it's a private building, right? So that works better on a smaller scale. On a larger scale, maybe for the expo even, I think on a larger scale, even though I had fun, it still works very well. So I think I think it depends on the scale and the nature of the building, whether it's more public or not. But still, I would say I would like to have some fun in the process, because without fun, what is architecture? I mean, it's too serious. So, and I want to liberate myself and liberate others through my architecture, because I'm seeing the world, I'm understanding the world through architecture. So my filter of understanding is architecture. So through architecture, I try to trickle down a lot of things. So that's my intention. And about how do I teach architecture? When I was a professor, a young professor for many schools, some students had difficulty because they could do anything. But it's like, for example, one student would say, Professor, the previous professor said I should do this and that and that. But then you say you can do that and that, everything. What? I'm confused. And I said, as long as it's good and sound, whatever you do is okay. Okay, as long as it's good. You know what is good. So we have to make something, even the idea might be silly, but if we put an effort to make it good and sound, I think that would be fine. That's what I say.
Amazing.
So that's my take on it. So yeah, I mean, I think I want to liberate myself and liberate people who experience it and feel free and have a freshness through architecture, but I'm not consciously doing it, of course. As I said, yeah.
Let me translate that. I love it. ازشون پرسیدم که این پروژه هایی که شما انجام میدید خیلی انگار خودتون رو دارین آزاد میکنید و انگار میخواین لذت ببرین بر اساس نیازهای خودتون و کارفرماتون، و حالا این خیلی جالبه که انقدر آزادانه فکر میکنید و طراحی میکنید، ولی آیا این یکم معماری رو شخصی نمیکنه، یک معماری درونگرای شخصی لذتجو که خیلی با بحث‌های درون گفتمان معماری سعی نمی‌کنه وارد گفتگو بشه یا بحث‌های جدی‌تر در معماری؟ و میگه که من سعی می‌کنم این پرزنتیشنم رو به این شکل من به شما نشون بدم که یک پرزنتیشن فان جذابی باشه. قسمت حالت روایت قصه گفتن داره پرزنتیشنم، ولی با واقعیتی که اتفاق افتاده دقیقاً منطبق نیست. خیلی از واقعیت‌ها پروژه رو جدی می‌کنه. مسائلی هست که من در موردش صحبت نکردم، در مورد قوانین، در مورد ساخت در پروژه که مطرحه. و همینطور دقت کنید خیلی از پروژه‌ای که من ساختم پروژه‌های خصوصی بود برای یک کارفرما، ولی پروژه که عمومی بشه مثل اکسپو دبی، اون وقت مفاهیم بیشتری فارغ از بحث کارفرما میاد وسط که من تونستم اونم انجام بدم. و در نهایت در مورد تدریس معماری ازشون پرسیدم که شما چجوری وقتی که انقدر آزادانه فکر میکنید به معماری چجوری تدریس میکنید به معماری؟ و میگفت جالب، من تجربه تدریسم اینجوری بوده که دانشجوام یکم سختشون بود چون آزاد بودن تقریبا هر کاری بکنن. استادای قبل از من محدودشون میکردن، باید نباید بهشون میدادن، ولی من میگفتم از تا جایی که میک سنس کنه پروژه براتون و کار کنه، من شما رو آزاد میذارم که هر کاری انجام بدید. Thank you. Okay, more questions. So I have a question first about referentiality. How much do you reference other architecture work? How much do you get inspired, or how much do you think about other works when you do, or is it like more personal process for you? And then, so I see a lot of references to pop culture, to icons, to symbols, but you don't talk in a way that the projects are referential to the history of architecture. This is my first question. And the second, is that I feel like that in your research, in your recent projects, you are moving from that symbolism or anthropomorphism to more abstract, like from more colorful to more like white buildings. And is that the correct observation, or it's just about some of the project and it's not a strong theme that you're following?
Yeah, I'll start from the second question.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a short memory. No, I think it's about the selection. I have really all red, pink buildings, all pink buildings, all red, blue buildings. So it's kind of, let's say, if I did a colorful building, the next one will be really more gray building.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one will be more colorful building, something like that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And also, so it's not that I veered away from color, but it's just that I think I showed you the ones that was maybe less color today. I don't know why. Sometimes I have a lot of reds in them. So that's the question, answering to that.
Mm-hmm.
The first question, references. Of course, everywhere I learned. When I was a student, I was a very fast hand person. So I would finish my project very quickly, mm-hmm. and I would roam around my design classroom. Okay, mm-hmm. And I see many of my colleagues. Some are not even talented, but they do great staircase without knowing. So I steal it. That's good. So I learned from it. You know what I mean? So for me, I think a lot of it has been referenced. Like you could reference like Levius Woods, you could reference Adao Ando, maybe high tech, Archigram. Mm-hmm. Many things I've digested. Yes, of course, it's all in me. So I don't really try to hide it completely. I don't want to. Of course, something make an impression on you, it comes out, right? You don't have to really hide it. I mean, why not? I mean, you are a sum of influences, right? You are a whiteboard. You're born as a whiteboard, but you live, and then all these influences become part of you. Maybe some people just do a good mixing together, so it becomes a cream, so you don't know where it comes from. But some people have a rough edges. Maybe there's a strawberry here. There's a smoothie. Oh, there is a pineapple there. So some drinks are like that. Some drinks are pure. I don't know. So I'm influenced a lot by many things. Everything around me is an influence thing. So, today I did something, I saw a movie, maybe that will influence me. So I'm trying to, maybe I'm a childish person. I'm just too childish, maybe not grown up. I don't know. I still take in a lot of things from everywhere. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you. Let me translate. در مورد ارجاع‌دهی به معماری و تاریخ معماری و بقیه معماری ازش پرسیدم که شما پروژه‌تون رو خیلی ارجاع فرهنگی دارین، به آیکون‌ها و سمبول‌های مختلف ارجاع میدین، ولی کمتر در مورد ارجاع به خود معماری و تاریخ صحبت می‌کنین. و گفت که من حتما تاثیر میگیرم. من حتی شده از دوران دانشجوییم از دوستان و همکلاسیام یه چیز جالبی میدیدم، سعی می‌کردم ازشون یاد بگیرم و تاثیر بگیرم. من همینطور کارام تحت تاثیر لبیوس وودز، تاداو آندو، آرکیگرام سوپر استودیو، شرکت در واقع در دفترهای معماری که حتی دراینگ صرفا تولید میکردن هستش و این رو تو کارام میشه دید و این رو سعی نمیکنم پنهان کنم. حتما همه اینا نه فقط معماری بلکه فیلم، همه چیز میاد در ذهن من میشینه و تبدیل به رفرنس میشه برام و ازشون استفاده میکنم. در مورد این پرسیدم که آیا شما دارید من مشاهده میکنم پروژه جدیدتر که دارن پروژه ها خیلی ابسترکت تر میشن، سفید میشه رنگ پروژه ها، کمتر از اون سمبولیسم و رنگای خیلی بولد استفاده میشه تو پروژه جدید و گفت نه اینطوری نیست. من معمولا سعی میکنم که کارهای مختلف کنم. اگه یه پروژه با رنگ بولد کردم بعدی سفید یا خاکستری باشه و برعکس. Okay. So in terms, I have a design question. It's very hard for me to tell if you do interior first or exterior in a lot of your projects. Like interior in a lot of your projects is really resolved, but very reserved and functional and rational, super interesting, like residential spaces to live in. But exterior is reckless and expressive, and I'm not sure if you're concerned with making interesting objects or making interesting spaces more. What do you think about that?
I understand. There's a I think the things I showed you, especially today, has that disparity between outside and inside. I think it's like that. For example, Simple House, even the Lollipop House, all these are very, very restrictive inside because clients said so. They said, no, don't, Mr. Moon, at least inside, don't color, please, no color, please, no color. So I, architecture can survive as far as the understanding of the client, right? Unless you persuade them, okay? And I don't persuade them. I don't persuade clients. So a lot of cases, I think clients do not know about what exterior is, so they let you as an architect to do it. But inside, they often, especially residential, I'm talking mostly in residential the realm, right? And they really barge in and say, no, like for example, my brother said, make it plain for me, brother. No more, no, just make it plain. So I think a lot to do with it. So I'm not really focused. A lot of people misunderstand my architecture as just making an object just that looks good from outside, and it's great. But that's the problem of architecture, because you have to visit the building to know what it is. You see, the pictures don't really convey you that much. So many people are surprised when they actually see my buildings, how it is. Well, I don't want to say this myself, but they really say it's a really sound space. So I am really into the business of serious good space. But I think it's more expressive outside, usually, because you can at that realm, right? Because inside people live, maybe. So that's what it is. So I'm both interested. For example, the picture I'm showing you, this interior here of the Expo building, it's very livable and spatial. But that space I envision as that too. And you could say, so maybe I'm inspired by Ivan Leonidov here too, or Chernikov, that's more closer.
Totally interesting. Let me translate. در مورد رابطه فضای داخل و بیرون ازش پرسیدم و گفتم خیلی سخته تو پروژه هاتون آدم تشخیص بده کدوم اول اومده، برای اینکه هم فضای داخل خیلی هاشون خیلی مطبوع و منطقی، هم فضای جالبی هم برای زندگی، و هم فرم بیرون خیلی فرم عجیب و پیچیده‌ایه و انگار که فضای داخل لزوما حاصل اون طراحی یک آبجکت جذاب از بیرون نیست. و توضیحش این بود که اولا خیلی به کارفرما بستگی داره. من دوست دارم فضای داخل و بیرون رو با هم میکس کنم، ولی باید کارفرما رو متقاعد کرد و من خیلی دوست دارم کارفرما رو متقاعد کنم. و در مورد مسئله داخل و بیرون آبجکت یا اسپیس میگن که من پروژه هام به نظر خودم خیلی فضاهای داخلی خوبی داره، همونطور که گفتی، و آدما باید پروژه رو از نزدیک ببینن، داخلش رو ببینن تا بتونن در موردش قضاوت کنن. اغلب پروژه منو به این شکل میبینن که یک آبجکت عجیب یا خیلی جذابی از بیرون به نظر میاد، ولی در واقع داخله که برام اهمیت داره و خیلی لیوبله، خیلی قابل زندگی، مثل این تصویری که اینجا میبینید که میتونیم بگیم شاید تحت تاثیر مثلا یک رفرنسی به چرنیکوف داره. Thanks. Okay. Questions from the audience. Let me read and translate. So the one question is that how do you define the relation between form and program in your work? Because like in some drawings that you showed, form came first without program, and then you try to assign a program, right? Like the cinema project. Is that the case for most of the projects, or it's different?
No, I think my ultimate goal is not designing. This would sound strange, but I think when we go to the mountains, we discover caves, we discover the rock to hide, we discover maybe a large rock to lean on. So it's about discovery, right? And as we know, architecture, we think about program all the time, but we refurbish every time. The warehouse becomes a hotel. So what is it? I mean, so I think program is very flexible. And for me, I think finding and discovering and imagining on the part of the user, which we are able, I think, as a human without education, we are as a human being can find space everywhere. We can find our alcove, we can find our ajit, So I think for me, that on that idea, on that track, that's what I mean by not designing. So that's why these this rotating text architecture is about the possibility of not imposing anything on architecture except a possibility of discoveries, which is a possibility. But of course, there's a rough sketches of like a rough boundaries of, okay, these could be used as a kind of a cinema or something like that, right? But it doesn't be perfect. So imperfections and all these things, so-called imperfections, I think is more innovative and more, it's open, you can accept more. So I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Thank you. Okay, translate. در مورد رابطه یکی از دوستان در مورد رابطه فرم و پروگرام سوال کردن، اینکه چجوری اینا رو تعریف می‌کنید تو پروژه‌تون و مثلا اون پروژه سینما که اول فرم طراحی شده بود و بعداً پروگرام بهش فکر شد چجوریه، آیا این همیشه اتفاق میفته؟ و در پاسخشون گفتن که من خیلی دوست ندارم دیزاین کنم فضا رو، من دوست دارم کشف کنم، مثل طبیعت باشه معماری، مثل اینکه شما یه غاری رو میرین کشف می‌کنین و توش می‌گردین و با اتفاقات غیر منتظره مواجه میشین، با تصادف مواجه میشین، فضا رو کشف میکنین. سعی میکنم معماری کنم که این اتفاق توش بیفته، برای اینکه جا بیشتر برای خلاقیت هست و فضاهای جدید رو پیدا کردم.
Can I say just one more on that matter? Like, it's like when we see a beautiful mountain or a beautiful woman, we don't know anything about it. But we go anyway, right? Just from the image, we go. But then we discover even better. Wow, she has a great heart. The mountain has many cavities. That kind of attitude. Yeah.
Interesting. میگه که یه چیزی میخوام اضافه کنم به اون، وقتی که ما یه کوه رو میبینیم یا یک زن زیبا رو میبینیم خیلی چیزی راجبش رو نمیدونیم از بیرون، ولی دوست داریم بریم توشون کشف کنیم، ببینیم اون قلب جذابی که تو انسان هست چیه، یا اون غاری که تو اون کوه هست برای ما چی داره و بتونیم بریم توش و کشفش کنیم. و این حس تو معماری که برای من جالبه و من میخوام تو معماری این رو ایجاد کنم. Okay. Thanks. Very helpful. There's a question about what comes first in your design. Does form comes before material, or what's your main driver of the project? What's the first driver, and then what comes next?
Often it's I don't want to sound rude, but it's kind of a vision I have, a vision, a kind of intuitive vision of what it could be. So it's fuzzy, it's foggy and fuzzy, but I have a kind of an, if I go to a piece of land and then meet the client and look through some codes, and then, you know, I doodle, maybe think a little bit, and then something comes up. So it's more of a, how do you say, it's not, I don't think it's rational in the true sense, a more intuitive approach. Yeah, it's an intuitive approach. Yes.
جواب اینه که من خیلی روی کردم خیلی اینتویتیوه، خیلی غریزیه، انگار که یک ویژن یا یک دیدی دارم نسبت به پروژه، و وقتی که پروژه برام مطرح میشه، موضوعش، سایت رو میبینم و مشخصات و محدودیت ها، ناخودآگاه میرم به سمت ایده پروژه و اون رو میکشم. خیلی فرمول مشخصی ندارم که از چی شروع کنم و خیلی روند اینتویتیو و غریزی هست برام این.
I just want to add, but when it becomes less fuzzy and becomes solid, becomes a design, I really take care of context for two reasons. First one, because the context is a generator of ideas and windows. For example, if I'm surrounded by 4 houses, I utilize it. I don't complain then that I'm blocked. I use that context as a generator of ideas. So I think in respect, I start with the fuzziness and the vision, but then when I go actually design in detail, all these context and restraints become an inspiration for me. Yeah.
Interesting. Let me add that. میگه که من درسته که ایده اولی هم خیلی غریزی میاد و از یک جور ویژنی میاد، ولی همیشه بعدش در مرحله بعدی خیلی به کانتکست توجه میکنم و سعی میکنم که از کانتکست الهام بگیرم. مثلا اگه خونه‌ای تو اون محیط هست، یک محدودیتی وجود داره، به جای اینکه اون رو انکار کنم، سعی میکنم بیارم تو طراحیم اون محدودیت رو باهاش کار کنم و به پروژه اضافه کنم. اینه که من به کانتکست هم بی توجه نیستم. Thank you. There is a question about what's your suggestion or what's your advice for young architects who like to design and doodle and imagine non-conventional buildings, but it's difficult when they start to convince the client to build those ideas? What do you think helps that?
I think when you're a student, still you don't have to build it, right? You have the freedom not to build. Is that what he means, or is he like
no, just like young architects right after graduation?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, okay. I think you have to blend or say compromise. You need, of course, because I think the first thing, two things. Important thing is to get something built, right? Second thing is, of course, you do it as much as you envisioned it. But you also have to know that you have to somehow imaginatively blend it to reality, right? You cannot expect every detail, every corner, every lines matching your envisioning to the real thing. So you have to be more flexible and open-minded and relaxed about it. So of course it's important to build something at first hand, but then if the first building doesn't go, there's a second chance and go for it. Because for me too, my first building was like, my friends was shocked. Is this your building? It's a box. Well, because I had to do it, and he didn't expect anything but a box. So, but then I built it anyway. You know what I mean? So at first my friend was surprised. Oh, Mr. Moon has already adulterated into something else. His design's all gone. No. Some time will come. So be relaxed about it, but get something built. Because you learn from your buildings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Translate. میگن که وقتی که جوونی و کارتو میخوای شروع کنی، باید که اولا کامپرومایز کنی، یه چیزایی رو فدا کنی. همیشه نمیشه کل ایده‌ت رو بتونی که اجرا کنی و بعد باید اون ایده رو با حقیقت ترکیب کنی، با حقیقت بلندش کنی برای اینکه بتونه اون ایده بیاد و ظاهر بشه. و هنر اصلی شاید اونجاست که اون ایده از اون نقاشی بیاد و با شرایط پروژه، با نیاز کارفرما، با وضعیت موجود ترکیب بشه و تبدیل به پروژه بشه. Okay, I think there were so many questions and we are past 2 hours in our life. Might be a good time to wrap up. But we still have audience that are there and asking questions. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
No. For me, today I'm free man. Yeah, go on.
Let me ask one more question and then we can wrap up. There is a question about the Dubai pavilion, that what happens to the structure after the pavilion finishes, because it's a big heavy structure, and then what do you envision about the afterlife of that?
Oh yes, what's that story? It will disappear like the mirage. Because I mean, only few buildings remains after Expo, like the Tour de Eiffel Tower in Paris, right? That was from the Expo. So very few buildings ever remain after the show. So the Korea Pavilion is going to be dismantled, but it's all made with metal I-beams, so they can unscrew it and they can just resell it. Of course, the basement, there's a basement, but other than that, everything is almost recyclable. But that's the fate of Korea Pavilion. It's a pity, but but that's what it is. So for me, it's really funny. It's like I compare this to the mandalas that the Tibetan monks draw. The Tibetan monks put all their energy, 10 of them, for 2 weeks to make a mandala, and then they put it out in the wind, and then it's all gone. So architecture thinks that it can last forever. But never. No building will last forever. Maybe drawings last longer, So it's a matter of time span, Every building will disappear. Yeah, of course. I want to be living a little more so I can show off to my friends more. I don't know, but it's going to go away. So I have accepted it. Yes.
Very interesting. Very interesting take. Let me translate. یعنی که هیچ ساختمانی تو معماری برای ابد زنده نیست. همیشه بالاخره ساختمان‌ها میمیرن، بعضی عمرشون کمتر، بعضی بیشتر، شاید حتی عمر نقاشیات و ترسیمات بیشتر از خود ساختمون باشه. در صورت این پاویلیون هم مثل اغلب سازه های دیگه توی نمایشگاه از هم جدا میشه، ولی قطعات فلزی هم پیچ و مهرن که اینا میتونه بعداً بره بیرون و فروخته بشه و استفاده بشه، چیزی حروم نمیشه این وسط. ولی گفت این خود این پروسه هم جالبه که شما بدونید یک چیزی رو دارید طراحی میکنین برای از بین رفتن، مثل تبتیان میمونه که یک سازه‌ای رو طراحی میکنن در طول 2 هفته و بعد اینو میذارن در مقابل باد و باد اینو میبره. یک جورایی طراحی موقت، یک کانسپتیه که خودش هم جالبه و واسه طراح یک موقعیت خاصی. All right. Amazing. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure and honor to have you. It was amazing. I enjoyed everything and hope wish you the best for yourself and the practice, and we are eagerly following the future projects of Mونبالسو. Thank you, Moon.
Thank you very much for listening in, everyone, and thanks for your great translation, Aryan, and everyone around, and I hope to visit Iran soon to meet you guys. Okay?
My pleasure. I hope to.
Yeah, I really want to go. All right.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.